everyone, welcome back to the Diabetic Diet Show. On today's show, we're going to give Panda Express a run for their money because I'm going to make the best Beijing beef recipe. It's show number 328 and it's better than Panda Express. To get started, let's go through some ingredients and let's get a few things started cooking. You know, the water to boil always takes the longest, so let's start out over here. I have my pasta pot with an insert, so we're going to get some liquid in there and then we're going to get some ingredients in this pan and get all that going. So, the pasta noodles that I'm using, it's an egg noodle. It's 1 pound and it takes about 2 cups of water. So, here's what I do instead, because my recipe is better. I'm using vegetable broth. Oh, much better. So, I am actually not going to use just the broth. I will need to put some water in here. But, that's how much was left in this bottle, and I could actually use the whole thing if I wanted, or just a portion. You don't want it to be too salty. So, I pour some of that in there and then I can see where I am. This thing has to hold at least 4 cups. So there's another 2 out of the purified water. And there we go. If I need to, I could always add more, but I'm going to run with this. Now, for the egg noodles, and I can turn this on, the way I measure my egg noodles, or any noodles for that fact, is I do it by handful. And these bags tend to tear here, so you got to kind of cradle it in your arm. Don't want too much, but I want a little bit of leftovers. By the way, you want to set your timer for 2 to 4 minutes for these noodles. And when they're done, you have to rinse them so they don't stick together. So here we go. Start. We got that rolling. Next, we need to go through some ingredients. And by the way, you don't have to write this down. If you want, you can just go to my website, which is jamestdds.blogspot.com, or if you want, you click the subscribe button and then see the more button, and all the ingredients will be there as well. Now, as far as instructions for making this, you're going to basically heat up ground beef and you're going to pour some ingredients together. And I have a couple of packages to go with this. For example, this risotto, you just follow the instructions on the risotto and that's going to make a real nice risotto side dish. Then I have this one, which is Asian sides teriyaki noodles. Same thing, follow the instructions on the package, it'll make a good side dish. And another one I have is carrots. Cut up as many carrots as you want. I like the way they add the crunch. I'm also going to use some peanuts. So I love the crunch of the peanuts on top. So you don't even really have to measure these out, just put some peanuts in the bottom of a container and crush it. You could put them in a bag and hit it with a bottle. You could hit it with a hammer if you have some way of breaking them up. Myself personally, I'm going to use a slap chopper to do it. That's my plan. Now, to season the meat, I need to turn on this pan and I need some oil. So, my oil is right here It's sesame oil. And I also like to use peanut oil. I take a flat spatula and I stir it around, and it's kind of like a scraper that puts the oil evenly around your pan. And you do want a little bit of thickness in your pan with this. Let's let that get hot. And I think what I'll do to make room here is I'm going to go ahead and move this to the back stove to get this out of our view so we can see what we're doing here. I'm going to make a mix together of a sauce to put on top of this. They call for sugar in Asian recipes. I'm using some stevia. You also need to have some oyster sauce. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, ick, oyster. Nah, you won't even taste it, but you'll know if it's not there. Rice wine vinegar, you need a splash of that. Some ketchup. And you can use sambal, which I just love, but it's too hot. You know, sambal is made with red pepper flakes. I just use Hussein sauce instead. So I'm going to make that mix here, and this pan is getting there now. It's starting to shimmer. So let's go ahead to the next step. Let's get the meat in the pan. Let's put some ingredients in here. The measurement actually is like about a tablespoon. So you really can't put too much of this in. I don't know what that would taste like to have too much of wine in something. I think it just makes it better and better. Of course, soy sauce, if you put in too much soy sauce, it'll be too salty. And then we need to put in some black pepper. See how simple this is? That's the ingredients for cooking this beef. Oil, probably peanut oil, because it has a high flash point. Some sherry wine. Some soy sauce. Cook till the beef is done. You can tell when the beef is done because it gets quiet, or it won't be pink. But ultimately, you want to put a thermometer in when you're cooking to know what the temperature is. And I have my thermometer right here ready to go. Kind of turn them over till they're not pink anymore. And you can take your thermometer, grab a big piece of beef, put it right on here. There, your noodles are done. (146 degrees). We're close. So very, very shortly. Keep an eye on it. This is where you go from not cooked to burnt. Okay, 150 degrees. Turn off the burner. Take it off the hot burner, move it to a cool one. Here's the rice pot. The rice I have washed with hot water. I rinsed out my pan because this just comes out. You just use something to pull it out, hold it under the faucet like that so you don't burn yourself. Also, I rinse my lid. Kind of keeps things nice and clean. So we'll just leave that sit. That's ready to go. Couple more little things we need to do. Let's cut up our peanuts. So here's my slap chopper. There you go. Works like a charm every time. Those are ready to go. Now I need to do a mix. In Asian food, they use sugar. I don't use a lot, and especially not with a trivia or stevia, I wouldn't use a lot. Of course, you could always put more in if you want later. Now, oyster. Rice wine vinegar. And all of these are a tablespoon. That's where I start. Can always add more later. I'll just mix this up. And the sauce is ready to be spooned on. Set that off to the side. Let's cut up some carrots. You know, they always say when you use carrots, don't use the whole carrot round, because that could get stuck in somebody's throat, especially if you have kids. They say cut the carrot long ways and then cut, so you end up with a piece that looks like this. There is our carrots, and I generally just take and throw them in. And that's what it looks like. I like them to get the juice and a little bit of the residual heat. Now, I didn't want to cook this, so I'm going to stir this and get this spooned in here. Spreading it all over like I have a plan. One of the things I don't like when people cook is something all in one spot. If you've ever been the person that got the salty rice, that's because somebody took salt and put it in one spot in a pan. I like to broadcast things throughout the pan so that they're evenly. This smells fantastic. Here's my plan. I put some noodles on the plate. I make a den in the center. Then I load it up with this delicious beef. carrots and all. Then I sprinkle some peanuts. And of course, don't forget, you have your fortune cookie. So you have to check your fortune cookie and see what your fortune is. That's my meal for the day. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.